What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Nani Network. My name's Eli, and I'm here with my partner, Shay. And today, we are bringing you a special edition episode. Our special edition episodes are going to be where we zero in on some of the subtypes of anime, and we just talk about it in like sort of a discussion forum kind of way. So today, we decided we're going to highlight the sports animes, and we're going to be giving you Haikyu and Ahiru no Sora. So let's kick this shit off.
Hey, yo, hey. So, Haikyu first. We're following the story of Shoto Hinata. He is our vertically challenged protagonist, and his goal, his dream, is to become the greatest ever pint-sized player. Hinata goes to Karasuno High, where we find the team that we're going to be following for the entire season. So they are the, Karasuno Crows?
Yeah, the crows. Sad.
Couldn't be a more pitiful creature, but he's on a team called the Karasuno Crows, and there are 12 members of this team. They have members from every grade level.
Yeah, so each year of high school.
From each year, which was kind of interesting because I know like a lot of teams don't really put like freshmen in like their starting lineup. So I'm like, yikes, I don't know what this is foreshadowing.
Giving, right.
But we soon find out what it is giving, and that's that the Karasuno Crows, what's a polite way of saying that they suck?
They're trash.
You're just literal garbage.
And
You're just
nothing
poop.
else. Sorry.
Garbage.
Yeah, alright. You're literal.
They're pretty trash. Honestly, like, as we said in the description, our main character, he wants to recreate this tiny giant phenomena that actually occurred with their school's volleyball team. They were once a nationally winning team, and over time they declined to the crows that they are today.
Yeah, the wingless crows.
The wingless crows, right. They now have the nickname of the wingless crows because they can't take flight anymore. They can't get past the preliminaries of anything. So we kind of meet a team that's down in the freaking outs, and they get these two new freshmen. Well, they get 4 or 5 new freshmen.
4.
They get 4 new freshmen in, and like 3 of them become starters, which for me was like, what the fuck were the other guys doing?
Yeah. So we find out that the volleyball team, when, Hinata starts, is barely a team at that point. There was, a situation that happened prior to the freshmen starting, which was, the Crows lost their match, and anime doing what anime does, like, these kids are so freaking dramatic.
Yeah, next level dramatic.
So 2 of the team's members, Nishinoya, also known as Noya for short, who is the team's libero. And if you don't know what a libero does, their job in volleyball is just to keep the ball in play, keeping it from touching the ground. So Nishinoya and Asahi, who is the team's ace, they're the one who makes power strikes and tries to get points out of the other team.
And they're also well-rounded.
Yes. They had an altercation in which, after they lost their previous match, they were both like intensely blaming themselves.
Yeah. They were fighting because they wouldn't let
it was my fault. No, it was my fault. Like, I'm the reason why the team sucks. Like, no.
It's me, and I'm not going to college, and I'm never going to play again.
They were doing too much. So, like, after that, because they both, like, intensely blamed themselves, they quit the team. So now the team...
Well, one got suspended. Nishinoya, I believe he did something that got him suspended. And dude, Asahi just quit the team altogether.
Out of guilt. Like, they had to beg my mans to come back, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, because he was like, I never want to, like, have to let you guys on again. And I'm like, guy, you're, like, 16. Relax.
Exactly. And, like, to speak to the other remnants of the team, the other team players were second and third years, and we've all been to high school. If you're playing a sport in high school, you're playing that sport so maybe you could potentially play it in college. So they were getting discouraged, as well as pressure from the school to kind of fall back on playing volleyball and playing volleyball seriously and focus on their studies so they could maybe get an academic scholarship because this volleyball shit was not working out. So our protagonists enter into this team that's in tatters, and we get to watch their fucking story of them putting this shit back together with just, I don't know, friendship and spirit.
Goal line friendship! Yeah!
Literally, because like they had those qualms, but all the guys on the team were like, were decent guys. Like, they were all nice people. They had like that family relationship where they all really cared about each other. So having their like two of their main members have that rift, you see that it really took an effect on the rest of the team.
Right.
So now, what do shows do when you have someone that's just down in the gutters? You got to put in a loudmouth protagonist. Oh my goodness, like sick of them. But that is absolutely what Hinata is. And then to the loudmouth protagonist, what do you have to put in to balance them out?
A brooding boy.
Enter Kageyama. So we have Hinata and Kageyama. They are two of the freshmen that come to Cross Snow that we mentioned earlier. Hinata is notable for his really high jumps and his spirit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just his energy and love for the game. Like, he's really passionate and never gives up.
Yes, and then Kageyama is, of course, a prodigy who's just good.
He's really, really good at the game, but he's also a dickhead who doesn't know how to be a team player.
Yes.
Or how to be on a team for sport, at
Absolutely.
least. So these two enter the team independently, trying to like prove themselves as the great volleyball players and really make a name for themselves at the school that they ended up on. But that was not really the case. Their individual talents coming in as freshmen, even if you have like potential, you don't have the experience, and that reflected in their showmanship up until they were able to identify each other's perks. Well, typically more so Kageyama. Kageyama was able to identify what the fuck Hinata was doing.
He was doing all the thinking.
Yeah, doing all the thinking, and they came up with this combo strike move that was virtually unstoppable for like a decent portion of the anime. Like, they had that combo that gave flight to the crows. They literally, this anime loves to show a good crow flying around.
They do.
Like, whatever they do, all of a sudden you'll see feathers falling in the screen.
And I'm like, that should be concerning if you have that many crows in your neighborhood.
That's how you're not about to set it off.
Definitely a bad omen.
Yo, when they got all the team back together, it was all like, what's a flock of crows called? A murder. A murder.
And it's like, yikes, guys. Definitely a sports anime. You can relax.
Calm the fuck down. Next, I think I want to just talk about real quick the dramatics. You kind of mentioned it earlier, but now that we got all our characters together and they started playing these games and going out, we start to see the dramatics out the ass. These guys, and not even like dramatics throwing fits because they win or lose a game, but dramatic in the way that they're diving for the ball and risking life and limb.
Yo, I'm glad you brought that up, because someone who, like, before you talked about like risking life and limb, I was thinking about Daichi when you mentioned the dramatics.
Yeah.
So Daichi is the captain of this team, and he is a mother hen.
Yeah, he is.
He's the type that's like, I got it, guys. Like, we'll do it. Don't worry about it. Like, he's here tutoring them so that like they can pass their test, so they can still be on he fusses. He definitely fusses for them. Yeah, he does fusses for them. And he's just like, guys, like, we won't be here forever type shit. You guys, like, talking to the second and first years, you guys need to know like what you're gonna do and how you're gonna shape the team once we leave. And it's like, my guy, don't you got job applications like you're supposed to be looking at? Like, you really don't need to be concerned about what these kids do with this team once you are gone.
Shut up, Mom! Silence from you! Okay. You're cut off from talking!
And he's also one of these people who like risk life and limb. Right. Like, in one episode, we saw that he got a mild concussion during a game because he went in to like try to keep a ball from going out of play that another one of his teammates was already going for, and their heads collided. And the way they showed this scene, like, the camera pans over the faces, like the faces in the crowd, and then it pans to Daichi lying motionless on the floor. I was just waiting for the camera to back out and show like a pool of blood under his head. I was like, what the fuck?
I'm gonna snap this fucking neck. Like, that's just one of many of these instances. Like, there's this clip running around Instagram of Hinata jumping across the court for a ball and falling and tumbling into rafters and like pilage of shit. It's like, the ball didn't go in play. He didn't win, and it's like, that just shows how hard these fucking guys go.
It also wasn't like a move that would have, like, it wasn't like, okay, like, they're down to the last one and the teams are tied. Like, at that point, they were drastically losing.
Yeah, and it's like, so what happens if you now break your ankle, strain your back, and have a chair in your head. Like,
Listen,
I don't fucking know.
Listen, to be young, this is like, they can get up from that. Like, I just know that
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Wildin' the fuck out. But that passion and that drive that they had is what really carried them through the show, and it's what really made the show for me, to be honest, because you wouldn't think anyone would give a fuck about volleyball like this, and especially me coming into it watching a volleyball anime. I'm like, what am I going to be seeing here?
To be honest, that's why I dubbed watching the show for a very long time, because it was advertised and like up on Netflix for a good amount of time, but it's just like, one, I'm personally not that into sports, and then I'm just like, a sports anime, like, I really don't know how that's gonna translate.
Right.
But in watching it, I was disgustingly into this show.
Word.
Like, how hype you actually get for it and how hype you get for the matches. Like, I was physically upset when they lost. Or when they were upset, or when they felt the way, because it was like, just all of that extraness and passion is converted, and you actually feel it as a viewer.
And you see it, because what these types of shows do, these sports anime, that's why we have to highlight it this different way, is you're really just following these guys through high school. So we're just watching them go to practice. We're watching them do practice matches. We're watching them go to their training camps. So we're watching the work that this team that hasn't won anything in so long, we're watching them put in the work to potentially be something. And you really are sitting here like a mom, like, you better go, baby.
Right. Part of the team watching how their relationships develop, which was also something they did a really good job about, how they interact with each other, how they play off of each other, and how, like, I mean, all animes do this, but we're just like, can't let the team down, so I'm gonna do my very best.
Right. And we actually get to see that other players appreciate them. Other players from other schools actually notice that, okay, wait, these guys aren't just garbage. Like, holy crap, they aren't the wingless crows, and that's, I feel like, was a side goal for them. Let's break this freaking superstition, this name, this stereotype, and let's show these motherfuckers what's up. Because they had a couple condescending cocks that they had to go and wake up, shake up a little bit, like the Great Prince and the Stonewall from Daytech. Like, they had a couple people who they said, yo, this little short kid has no way of beating us. Or this kid who I played with in middle school, Kageyama, who was an asshole and didn't know how to work on a team, there's no way that they can beat us. And they had to show him.
I thoroughly enjoyed whenever, like, they were underestimated going into something, and then you see jaw hit floor, because people are just like, okay, Hinata's like 5'3", and he's fast. That was another thing. He was super fast, and they just couldn't keep up with him. And then you see them gain people's respect and build back up the reputation of their school. Like, they had nothing. Like, I don't even think they had uniforms.
Yeah.
When the show first started. So they had to get uniforms, and I think their manager had to, like, go dust off a banner for them. Because, like, every school, when they come to these games, they show the fuck out. Like, they have whole cheering sections, like, with cheering uniforms on. Like that is their
school uniform.
That is their job. Like, at the school, this is our designated cheering team.
Okay, ladies, now let's get information. Give me a P. Give me a E. Give me a T. T. Y. I'm petty all the time.
These babies' bleachers were always empty. And then they got, like, their, like, few friends, like, coming closer, like, as the season progresses. But these schools have cheering sections. They have coaches. They have multiple managers. They have the bells and the whistles. And these boys had to scrape together some uniforms. And they really had to just...
They were, in every sense of the word, the underdog.
The underdog, yes.
In every sense of the word. And we got to watch them not quite win, because, disclaimer, we are only talking up until the end of season 3. We watched up until the end of season 3. We were saving season 4 to watch in its entirety, part 1 and part 2. So maybe we'll do another short and we'll talk to you guys about the rest of that. But we got to see these guys make it past round 1 of a tournament, when they weren't able to do that at all. And that is what made this show the shit.
So now that we've rambled for a bit, it's time to get into the character that we fuck with. So for me, this was a really hard choice, because for Haikyu, I really enjoy the team. All of the guys are super personable. Like, they're just really good characters to watch. I enjoy watching them. I enjoy their development, and they're just nice people. I love how they interact with each other. there's like two dickheads on the team, but that's to be given. You gotta shake it up a little bit. But I'm gonna go with Nishinoya, and Nishinoya is hilarious. He's also one of the shorter players on the team, but his position is libero, so his height doesn't really hinder his performance at what he does. If anything, it helps him.
Liberos typically are the shortest person on the court.
Yeah, so he's able to like navigate the not field but court better, and I like him because he's one half of the comic relief of this show, but also when he's on the court, some of the things that he does is really impressive to me. So the liberos are the only players that can touch the ball with their feet, and the way that he utilizes his body in playing the game is really incredible.
I don't know, splendid, spectacular.
It's dope. And he makes it fun to watch, because then it's like, how much like entertainment can you bring to sports anime? So they definitely have like the action-esque themes of it, where like they're doing like these wild moves and bouncing off the back walls and shit. So Nishinoya gives me that excitement when I'm watching Haikyu.
Nice.
Honorary mention is Tanaka.
God. For mine, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Tsukishima. He is one of the freshmen who got on the team. He's a little bit of a sourpuss, but he's a really, really tall dude. He wears glasses, and I just liked his character development way more than anybody else's on the team. I feel like he had a valid reason for being a sourpuss, because before I was like, yo, he's just a dickhead. But then it comes to find out that he's playing volleyball because he has this light passion for it, but it was tainted because his older brother lied to him about playing volleyball.
You liar!
And it ended up being something that he was made fun of for years and years in middle school. Yeah, for years and years in middle school. And his brother was like going over here telling him like, yeah, I'm in every single game. Come to find out, he snuck out to see his brother play, and he hadn't been off the bench. He hadn't been off the bench all year. Well,
he got made fun of one time. They said, oh, so you lied.
He got made fun of by all these kids.
Next time he was bullied. He
just
was
really...
the bully.
Who did he bully?
He bullied everybody.
Oh my gosh, he didn't bully any. What are you talking about?
That's how he became friends with the little no-name one who does nothing, Yamaguchi.
Who bullied everybody? He bullied everybody? That's how he became friends with him?
There was people
Let me finish gushing about my character, please.
Ahead.
Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Salty ass Fukushima.
Like, she chooses the shortest dude on the court and not even the main character, but she has to come for my guy? Anyways, he becomes one of the blockers on the team, and he actually becomes like one of the more important guys. He doesn't break into being one of the starters, but when they're in a bind and when they're going against these teams who have a plethora of taller players, he becomes a key person on their team, and he's one of the few people who are able to block and combat a lot of these other players that they're going against. So I just really loved his character development. I really loved watching his story, and I'm excited to see what goes on now that his passion for volleyball has been reignited. He kind of reaffirmed with himself that he's doing it for him, and he actually does love this game. So I'm excited to see what comes next. All right, so next, let's lock that bitch in for Haikyu. I'm going to lock in for these kids' journeys. There's only so many things you can lock in, but now that they're on their way to nationals, they're going to be competing at a whole nother level. They barely just got their footing with these guys. So I'm going to lock in that somebody's going to get an injury. We already know our guys are overzealous. We already know our guys don't care much about being injured. So I am fully ready for one of the main guys too. And I'm going to maybe lock in that it might be Daichi, the captain of the team, because we've already seen him wild out and like go crazy for a ball. So I think put him in that scenario his last year, and in a game like that, I see him getting injured early on in the nationals and not being able to continue.
Yikes. Ooh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
For my lock that bitch in, I'm going to lock in that I don't think that they're going to win nationals. And as much as I would love them to, I really do want them to. Haiku's good about expectations. And they don't feel like the characters are obligated to win every match. So I feel like they're kind of due for a loss at this point, because they won that really big match against Abajosai, and then they beat Shiratorizawa. I mean, by the skin of their teeth, granted, but they still won. So nationals, I think, especially since the main characters are first years, I think they're gonna have them lose nationals and then come back next year and probably win in their like second year.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
What about our guys? I mean, maybe Asai would come back since he's not going to college.
Shut up. Oh my God. It'd be like what do they call them?
Super senior.
A super senior.
I don't think they allow that in Japan.
Well, they allowed 38-year-olds in high school, so.
Yeah. Leave God of High School alone. Get over it, Shay! Last up, we'll give our Nani rating.
Okay. So I thoroughly enjoyed Haikyu.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. I love the story progression. Something I really appreciate about Haikyu was that the show again was like really realistic, like had really realistic expectations. So just because these characters were the main characters, they didn't win every match. We saw even there was a scene where they went on like a training camp for like 2 days and they lost every match.
Every single match. They
did not end that training camp with one victory. It wasn't because they were shitty, but it was just because they were trying to like fine tune new moves that they were working on, and everybody wanted to become, independent in their own right and, be able to support the team and
have something to contribute.
Yes. So I like that about, like, the first time they lost the match, I was floored. I was completely caught off guard. And I like that, where like an anime can surprise you and not the plot isn't totally predictable. Again, I enjoy the entire group of guys. They're funny. The show is really good about having comedic breaks. Mm-hmm. And it's very enjoyable to me. So for what it is, I will give Haikyu a 9. I was very invested.
Wow,
I was
nice.
very invested.
Whoa!
Like when I'm watching Haikyu, I feel like I'm at home. Like defense, get it, go, David, spike,
go,
it was out.
Wow.
I get really into it.
I got a 9 out of Shay. Yikes.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at the game.
That's dope. Haikyu for me, one thing I'll say is they absolutely had balance. They had balance in everything. They had balance in whether our team was winning or losing. They had balance in our characters developing. They had balance in everyone's abilities. Like there was not one thing that to me was a little bit not believable for high school. Yeah, they trumped up some dramatics to make a sports anime more palatable, but a lot of it probably dead ass happened. Like I've watched sporting things and I've watched high school sports, like I know they go just as hard. They might not be freaking 6'8" athletic crazy people, but people are 6 foot in high school. So I really enjoyed watching that. I really enjoyed seeing Kageyama become a little bit less of a dickhead. We already know that I enjoyed watching Tsukishima come out of his show a little bit more, and every character had their chance to shine and had something to do for the team, and that's what I really liked because they really were a solid unit, and it was just really, really fun to watch. That shit was hilarious. They were freaking ducking, diving, and dodging for freaking volleyball, and they have him as like an orange streak zooting across the floor. Like God. The dramatics and the animation made it that
when
much.
They make his quads like flex
and vein up like Date Tech. They were known as the Iron Wall, and when like their 3 defenders would lock together, it would be like jail doors closing. Like
I love that.
That shit was like, yo, what am I watching right now? This isn't like the Olympics volleyball and like shit I've watched before. Like this shit is crazy. And so with that in mind and with that being said, I am gonna give them an 8, only because I haven't finished yet. So I'm gonna give them an 8 right now, but kudos to them. They made volleyball the shit to watch.
The execution of the show was spot on. It was phenomenal. Yeah.
Now we're going to switch over to basketball and talk about Ahiru no Sora. This is about Kuramatani Sora, who made a promise to his ailing mother that he's going to dominate his first high school tournament, and then they'll be able to see each other again. As he joins the basketball team, Kurozoyu High, and he finds out that this team has now become a stomping ground for misfits and hoodlums. But using Sora's genuine zeal for basketball, things begin to stir once he joins. Ooh, so sweet.
Shaking shit up.
So, our main character, Kurumatani Sora, has a mom who is sick. So when he went from middle school to high school, she was transferred to a new hospital facility beforehand, and she told him that she no longer would like to see him. So he, being extremely close to his mother, she was a famous basketball star in Japan, and he was her son, and they grew up playing basketball together, and she taught him everything he knew about the sport. Of course, was mortified. So he decides to transfer schools to where his grandma lives, which is close to her hospital, so that he will be able to see his mother once he completes his first tournament in the basketball series. So this gives him, of course, like his driving fucking goal. And as you know, protagonist, and as I'm thinking all protagonists in sports anime, he is like super optimistic. He's like, I'm gonna beat it.
Having to make these asinine goals. Just go see your mom. Like,
Yeah, like
what the fuck?
I honestly, God, would not have cared if my mom said that you're not gonna see me. It's like, I don't think my mom or his mom put him on the banned list.
Yeah.
You know, I think she said, hey, do not come and see me. I'd be like, girl, you gonna have to put me on the banned list.
Like, that's just like not a conversation that you would want to have, because like we understand why she would want him not to see her. Like, she doesn't want him to see the deterioration of her health, but
this is his
that,
last
mom.
moments
Like,
with your man.
like, if I'm pretty sure if he wasn't just like, well, fine, like, I don't think she would. I think she would have eventually let it go, but obviously, like, it's not straightforward like that, right? It's not here's problem, here's solution. It's here's problem, here's journey, here's solution. Like, they do too much.
Yeah. So Sora, of course, like it seems to be with sports anime again, he's actually vertically challenged. He's really, really short. And if you know basketball, one thing you need for basketball is height.
If you don't got skills, talent, hand-eye coordination, you could get by on some height. He don't got, let me not say he don't got shit, but he don't got the height.
But it's even said that, like, you know, even if you have all those skills and you are short, sometimes having that height, you will never be able to compete at a professional level. So here is this giant feat for him to achieve with the promise that he said to his mom, which was to win his first high school tournament, which is the Inter High. And the Inter High apparently is like the hardest fucking tournament in their region. Like, so Sora goes to Kuzu High, and he meets the basketball club, and he finds out that it's literally just a gang. Just squad.
Bunch of delinquents.
Bunch of squads. They're pulling up. They don't play basketball at all. They literally just bullshit. They have the club so that they can use the basketball locker room pretty much. So
they have the locker room like their personal playpen. Like, they got game systems. Like, they store snacks in there.
They had a whole cutout so they could look into the female locker room.
Didn't they also have like a pinball machine? Like, they really was just like...
And not one fucking basketball game played. Like, what's going on here? So, but of course, Sora kind of one by one inspires these guys. So, like, let's rattle off a couple names, because I actually really fucking like these dudes. We have like Chiaki and Momoharu, who are actually twin brothers. We have Chucky. We have Kite, who's an asshole.
Toby.
Stop. We have, what's the other dude's name? The tall one. You said it good, better than I'm gonna. So you got that.
Mochiki, Yasuhara, Chucky, and Nabe. So this team has, what is that? 8 people on it. Now, if you're somebody who watches basketball, you know that that's not enough.
That's not an adequate team.
Okay, so their team is drastically they don't got enough people, right? So basketball games can last upwards of 2-3 hours, which is usually not a problem if you have a team that has enough members, because what you'll just do is you will cycle out,
substitute people out.
Yeah, that's it. Substitute.
Yeah, like,
go sports.
You know, let people recover while other people wet their legs, wet their feet.
Yeah,
and that's a luxury our team didn't have, especially being that they recruited more members as they went.
Yeah, there was
it wasn't even the initial 8.
The first couple of games they played not even having enough players.
They didn't have a substitute at all. It was literally just, we had barely enough people to be on the court. So Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? But like, that's just, Sora just had that effect on them, and they all did actually. Well, not they all, but the twin brothers who I mentioned, Chiaki and Momoharu, actually had a basketball past. Thank God, because I felt like we kind of waited to see if anyone played any sort of basketball, and they actually had a deep passion for it. But they had their dreams kind of ripped out from underneath them. No, they didn't. They lost the game.
I was about to say, here we go with the melodramatics again, because before they even fully lost the game, Chiaki was out.
Chiaki walked out. He said, "What's the point in playing if we're losing?"
Yeah, so he walked out in the middle of the game, and Momoharu was just discouraged after being benched for most of his middle school career, because the first time I think they did put him into play, he sucked.
Yeah, homie can't shoot.
Well, not he sucked. We come to realize that he has his strengths.
Well, in middle school, he sucked because he didn't have some of those strengths back then. Like, middle school, he was just garbage.
Stop.
Like, but, you know, they were discouraged from playing basketball altogether, and it was only up until Sora came to the school that they even considered doing it again.
And he had to challenge them. Mm-hmm. He fought them and that's what I will say about this protagonist. I like him.
I like him too.
Like, I like the way he conveys his message. It's not obnoxious. Like, I feel like some protagonists can be very obnoxious with how they like try to get things across. But him, it's like, it just comes from such a genuine place and wanting to, like, you know, do what he got to do so that he can finally feel like he deserves to see his mother.
Right. It's like, he's like one of those, how could you get mad at this kid? People.
Literally.
Like, that's literally what they said. It's like, how could you get mad at him?
And you'll see that, like, after he earns their trust and their respect, they like him.
Exactly.
And these are like actual thugs. Like, one of them's been to jail.
Yeah, one of them's on probation.
That we know of. Like, I wouldn't say that the others haven't been to jail, but we know that one is actively on probation.
Right.
And this is a kid who's like, again, 4'11", and he's, oh my God, you know what I'm thinking of right now? The episode where he told his mom that he joined a basketball team and he sent her the picture of,
like,
and she was like, gads.
Like, are you safe? Because like, there was me mugging in the pic, and he's just there giddy as a fucking bird.
Oh
like,
my God.
I'm safe, mom. I have my friends. It's like, yo, Sora. But piggybacking off of what you said, Sora literally inspired the other team along with this other member, Kite. They did it in different ways. Sora kind of gave everyone the benefit of the doubt because these people weren't playing basketball beforehand, so he was more willing to meet you where you were at and say, hey, I'm shooting like 1,000 basketballs a night. You come to the gym too afterwards. Or when people would pop up, he would be like, let's do this exercise. Let's do that. Let's boost your stamina up until they got a coach. Because these guys were like the most unofficial team in the world. They didn't even have a coach. Kite, on the other hand, took to talking shit. If this show did one thing, it represented high school dudes so accurately. He's all like, yo, if you can't do it, just quit. You piece of shit.
Yo, literally, this show is fucking hilarious. The way they have the boys interact with each other, I feel like is like an actual representation of how young boys interact with each other.
Yeah.
Like, they are cussing. They're like, you know, run defense, you piece of garbage. No, actually, no. Like, they be like,
run defense, bitch.
Toby, play some defense, man. Don't just let him shoot number 3. Quit your bitching. Hey, I heard that, you piece of shit.
Because, like, they just did not play no games with that shit. They were thugs on the court and off the court. Like, one dude is, like, karate chopping people and fouling them. Like, sorry, it's a habit. Like, my favorite line was, like, this other player from another team was talking shit about Chiaki in his head. He was all like, oh, you fat ass. He's like, I'm surprised this fat ass can move so fast. And Chiaki's like, my ears are ringing. What did you say, bitch? Like, I was just crying the entire way through.
They liked basketball, but they were also ready to set it off.
Mm-hmm. So that's what they responded to. You know, when Kite is here dogging you out, making you feel like trash and cutting your ass about it, like, it made them want to try harder. Like, they left the room all tight, but they went to the basketball court like, and got their ass beat by middle schoolers and realized, yo, I am trash. I need to do better.
Absolutely. Honestly, those three, Nabe, Chucky, and Yasuharu actually tried. I will say that he actually tried, and I can see him possibly getting better. But on a team where y'all don't have the slack to have any members that are trash, because it's only the 8 of y'all. You can't pull nobody in, pick nobody out. So to have 3 people out of your 8-person team who are one is okay and the other two are just straight up garbage. Like, I don't understand how you don't see that this is going to be a hindrance. I am quick with in promising I would leave kids to get eaten by demons. I will fully like throw people off of the team because it just didn't make sense. And as captain, Momoharu needed to put his foot down.
I completely agree. I've been a part of teams, and it's like if people are not carrying their weight, or if people just aren't cut out for this, then you need to go.
They couldn't do like basic exercise, and I'm like, first of all, y'all are supposedly still young, like still like they look like grown ass men, but they're like sophomores, right?
Yeah.
So you're like 15. Why can't you do a lap? They were, oh my God, that was one of the critiques of their team as a whole, was that they have such low stamina. And again, yes, they are playing the 2 hours consecutively, but that's all you got? I mean, I don't play no sports, so I can't.
I'm about to say.
I'm just saying.
But with that, like, let's talk about like the progression of the team. So when they got together, they didn't have an advisor or a manager. And as you see from like these sports animes, or at least anyone I watch, like those are two things that are essential. Like even in schools I've been in, you can't form an official club if you don't have a freaking advisor, a faculty member from the actual school who's taking responsibility for this team. So they have to get that. They get this coach, and she begins to train them, and they really begin to show real promise. They each kind of have one thing that they excel at.
Can we talk about Now?
Because
so Now is their coach. He's actually also a student at their school. So most teams, when they have a coach, it's actually an adult.
Right.
So but that really fits their theme, where it's just like they get someone who's super good at something. Like that's what like been gravitated towards them, where like Sora is good at basketball. He's a good basketball player. Toby is, I think they consider him like a prodigy, like with his skills. And then Mochi's just like, they got like the fucking tallest guy in their district. So like it just feels natural that Now would also gravitate towards them as their coach. So she is inexperienced because obviously she hasn't been
50-year-old man coaching a kid's
she's
basketball
just
game.
Someone who enjoys the sport and is gifted at making plays, but she's still learning as well. So I
feel like even with her inexperience, any sort of help was gonna do wonders for this team.
Leaps and bounds.
Because she observed them their first game. You know, she made them play the female basketball team at their school. And the entire time she's observing each of the player. And by the end of it, she had like half a fucking notebook full of freaking notes on each individual player and how they can enhance and perform better in the next game. And that's what really won them over. That's what won. Kite was like the biggest. Kite or Toby, we keep switching between those two, but Kite and Toby are the same person. He gave the hardest time for her because she was a student, and he thinks he's like this prodigy. He's so good at basketball.
He don't think nobody can do shit besides him.
His shit don't stink. Never. But she brings them to a level where they actually can go up against teams, okay? Because we see that they're not winners yet.
Listen, Mama was not playing. She came in, she had them on a training schedule. She had them on a practice schedule.
She had him by like a 15-minute increments too. It was all like, you're switching from running to doing crunches to going to doing relays when you go back and forth when you touch the line. Like she had them busting
She
ass.
did a lot as their coach. And did you say that she was their coach and their manager?
Yeah.
Like that's also something, like in most sports anime, you have an advisor, your manager, and your coach, and these are usually 3 separate individuals. So she's here getting their jerseys together, getting their uniforms together, probably washing and rinsing that shit. You see her carrying the big fucking box, and she's their coach, but also like their personal fitness trainer. Like you see her actually hands-on helping them with the exercises. So shout out to Now.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to you, Now. You are coach. But our team, of course, they have to enter into the inter-high, and they eventually do. And things don't go quite as planned. I don't know. It seems like all of our players, and this kind of aggravated me, under the pressure, I guess is what they were trying to let us see, but they weren't performing. They were underperforming. Everyone had nerves out the ass. Mr. 3-pointers missing threes. Mr. I move at the speed of light his knees is buckling. I'm like, yo, where's my squad?
Mochi was like, yo, because so Mochi is the extra tall player on their team that we were talking about earlier, and he too played basketball in middle school, but he too had a disappointing defeat, so he too stopped playing basketball, and they had to beg this nigga to be on the team. Okay, he gives in, he's on the team, but you know, in that space when he wasn't actively practicing, and then he already has a frail disposition, my guy cannot stand up and like play the game for more than a few minutes at a time. I'm looking at their team like, my God.
First of all, they made being anemic like a death sentence. I thought he was on Sora's mom's level, the way they had him leaking sweat.
He was passing out.
He was like, do not make me enter a gym, because he starts leaking sweat as soon as he touches the court.
I don't think that he should medically be allowed to play sports.
Like they said, you're tall, you're in. Literally. You're tall. Like they spotted him and said, that guy's really tall. He should be on the team, right? Am I right, guys?
Never saw him. Well, no, they did see him play when they saw that, but like, come on, guys.
Yeah, so we get to this freaking tournament, and you know, you guys have been practicing, and you guys have been perfecting these skills, and it just...
Perfecting.
Well, trying your Higglytown hardest.
Here in Higglytown, we'll all jump around and meet the Higglytown heroes.
And they just did not perform the way I thought they were going to perform.
Yeah.
And they ultimately lost that match. Like the score was like 104-90. And they have so many comebacks and so many moments where like they hit that traction and they get stopped. And I'm just like, all right, you know what? But that happened in Haikyu. I believe in y'all.
Yo, literally. Like, I'm not against an anime keeping it realistic. Like, I don't think that pro tags should win every fight or every battle or like succeed in every challenge or should come from a 2-parent household.
Yeah.
I don't think they should have it all, right? I think that there needs to be realistic expectations, because that's what makes it fun, right? It being relatable. But goddamn.
But goddamn. And I think like just to pause here and shift gears. So after they lose that game, that episode in itself was kind of like it was so sad. Sora's mom actually left the hospital to come and watch him play that game, and she without him knowing, unbeknownst to him. And she actually got a chance to see him and see all the kids that she's been texting him about, because he tries to shoot his mom a text like, what would you say, once a morning, like every morning or at the end of every day, he recaps to his mom what he's been up to.
Fully.
So she really got to go out there and see everything that she was telling, and it was honestly a really beautiful moment, despite him losing. But then, you know,
like, she fought tooth and nail to get out of that hospital because of her condition. They really didn't want her to. Like, she had her doctor had to go with her on his day off. They called him up like, yo, this is a situation. And he had to come to the hospital on his day off to escort his patient.
So he could monitor her actively, like in the moment. So unfortunately, after he loses this game, his mom passes away.
Well, he didn't even get to play for the last quarter, because they told him that he had to come to the hospital.
Yeah.
So double damn.
Like, yo.
That's 3-point mommy. Maybe they would have won if he would have still there.
You know? And like, that was this... Stop shitting on this little man. You know, he's already 4'11". Like, come on. Just tragedy fucking struck. So now, not only is like, you know, Sora's Nindo up in flames, the school is now literally up in flames.
You did not segue that like that.
Because the guys, of course, they're discouraged, the other team members. And mind you, they never knew about Sora's mom and her condition.
Yeah, he kept it pretty close to the chest.
He kept it close to it. He didn't use it as a crutch to let everyone know, like, oh, support me because of my mom. Like, he wanted them all to genuinely want to do it.
The only person, like, of his friend group that was aware of his mom's situation was Madoka, his girl crush. But that was completely on accident that she found out about that.
Yeah. So like they were discouraged, and something happened where they were about to smoke, and they had found cigarettes in the locker room, and they went out, found a lighter, and were about to pull, but Mr. Satsuki, their advisor, actually walks in, and you know, shit is dead now. So they tossed the cigarette, and it's apparently lit, and it sparks the whole fucking locker room on fire. So on top of him losing his mother, the team now, of course, is disbanded as punishment for fucking burning down the school.
Not the school, the locker room.
It's a part of the school.
Drama bun.
It's a part of the school.
But let me tell you how irritated this scene made me, because so Momoharu's actually interested in basketball. Not just interested, he loves basketball. It gives him satisfaction. But his 3 bum-ass friends, the ones who I said I don't know why they're on the team in the first fucking place, they're the ones who were encouraging him to smoke the cigarette in the first place, because he didn't want to do it. He literally did not want to do it. So it's like, they lost, they encourage, like, and yes, he has his own mind and you shouldn't submit to peer pressure, but they're also fucking 15. So I'm like, y'all literally don't contribute to anything. Was probably part of the reason that they lost the game, and now you like are over here like a fucking devil on the shoulder talking about smoke that ciggy, smoke it.
Yeah.
Like they upset me so heavily, and then after all of that, Momoharu is here taking the full blame.
Yeah.
Right? Like they all are like, oh yeah, we're all responsible. But Momoharu fully, like when they had to talk to the teachers, was like, I'm the only one. Like I did it. It's me. I'll take responsibility. Like with this fucking honor code. Like, guy, you're 15. Relax. And I think the teacher told him that too. Was just like, you don't know what it means to take responsibility yet. Like,
what are you saying?
They're not gonna fine you, charge you, or expel you. I'm the nigga whose buns is on fire right now.
Yeah, what did he say? He said, did you know what you did? And he's like, you committed betrayal. I was like, you arson, nigga. What are you talking about? But that sparks like the latter half of the season, which is basically the redemption of the basketball team. It gets disbanded, so they work really hard and redeem themselves. They go to the hairdresser, they get really cute haircuts. Everybody switches up their do.
Thank God.
As a show of good faith and a recommitment to basketball. And they actually ended up making a name for themselves at Inter High, because now they're the hot girls on the block. Everybody's calling in the school like, hey, we want to play these guys. Hey, we want to play these guys.
Are people who did not go past the first round.
Exactly.
So that was really impressive.
Yeah.
Just to see, the reputation that they got behind just the skill set.
Already.
Everyone can see that they're like little diamonds in the rough.
Exactly. So this leads to like the last little arc of the show, where they have a practice match against Yokohama Tai High. Now, this jackass, it wasn't Chucky. Who was it? It was Nabe, who took a fucking school call. He's in like the administration office and took a school call and accepted the match against these guys. And they are like the best people in the prefecture, like, in their region, and they whooped ass in the Inter High. Why all the other teams we've seen throughout the show have lost, they're still playing in the Inter High. So
they won that set of the prelims.
Exactly.
That y'all lost the first round of.
Loser.
They're trash. So
Stop.
they are not competing at the same level, but they go against these guys, and this game, I think, is one of the hilarious matches I've seen throughout it. Like, they have this orange-haired kid, I forget his fucking name,
Fua.
but like Fua, and he keeps licking his lips and sticking his tongue out like Orochi fucking Maru.
It's disgusting.
Talking about he's such a weirdo. I hate it. It's so uncomfortable watching him score a basket then lick his lips, because this show has a problem with the way these lips are even animated.
He would lick from like his nose to his chin in a full like circle, like a dog.
Like, what was it, like Scooby-Doo, when he would like eat all the Scooby snacks and then he would lick all around his face, the whole screen? That's the type of shit he was doing, like, while he's sticking D on Kite, like licking all over the place.
It made me so uncomfortable, so I know it made Toby uncomfortable.
Yo!
Because it's just like, first of all, back up off me.
It's
with
like, imagine Venom from Spider-Man sticking defense on you.
That's yes.
Just that is on the mind today. But they were reminded and humbled the fuck by this match, because they were outranked and outclassed.
I had so much hope for like them going into this match, because they started really strong.
They were putting up a fight and keeping it even throughout at least the first quarter.
Come to find out,
they were playing with you. That is where they showed, hey, you guys don't have a team. We have multiple centers on the bench who are actually adequate at playing.
You know what was really insulting to me? That basically the coach was looking at this practice match as a way to like mess with his formula. Like he was seeing what works, what doesn't, like what players play. Like he didn't come to the match with the intention of just winning. Like yes, with the intention of winning the match, but he was experimenting.
He said, "We're gonna win, but let's try some new shit."
Yo, like he's trying to have people play different positions. He's like seeing like, because he had his first years and sophomore, so he didn't even bring out his third years.
Exactly.
So it was like, God damn it.
At one point, he even let one of the team members practice do the huddle for him.
They were playing you handicapped.
Yeah. It was just not what was expected. But these guys at that school, we found out that they try to play at least 200 games a year, period. Like, regardless of how many tournaments, regardless of how many registered official games there are, they go around, they seek out practice matches wherever they can. So they train on a rigorous level that it's another fucking thing.
They are much more selective with their team as well, because that school is known for their basketball. They have a lot of freshmen who try out every year. Like, they have kids in abundance. They have so many people. Like, there's not even enough space on the bench. Like, there's people who are on the bench. There's people who are like shirted in to actually like go into the match. And then they have like people who are
spectating, but also team members.
What do you call, like, the people who do the grunt work? Where it's like you're on the basketball team, but no one respects you. Is there a name for that?
No, I don't. Well, I think you're just shitting on them, Shay.
That's what they have. So because they can afford to be selective with their team members. Again, our team cannot. So they literally have the people who they had to beg to come on, and like whoever they were, like they can't really afford to even chase the ain't shit players out because they don't have anybody else. Yeah. So when you have a team that has like, they have a roster that they can choose from, that they have chosen from. And y'all, like, it's really disheartening. And at this point in the show, we're 50 episodes in. I thought that they would have,
gotten AW,
recruited more members, and won something, won anything. Yeah. They haven't won official matches, unofficial matches, practice matches, playground matches. Yeah, like
I really was holding out a freaking one last candle. The flame was flickering, and I said, please. But they slaughtered them. The end result of that freaking game was 74-119. And they were not the 119. I'm sorry to tell you.
It got really irritating because there was a point where they were like beginning to catch up. But again, the coach was just messing with his formula. So once he said, no, y'all are not about to bridge this gap. He would send in like his
somebody else just to shake it up. He would see that they were putting the pressure on the team, and they were fucking up our main players. They were fucking up Kite. They were fucking up Sora, having some kid who trained his mom come on the court, who was trained by his mom come on the court.
Momoharu's only job is to do rebounds. And he's good at it. He's good at it, but that's his only job. And he was struggling. And Sora, can I even get into how he got me so fucking upset? Vouching on behalf of this nigga to jump in the game. They already have the advantage on you that they can switch out more players. But you're telling him to let somebody in the match who hasn't played all game. That was that bullshit. So he is rested. He is coming in fresh face. You have been playing for an hour. You guys are tired. Mochi's over here passing out.
And he knows all your tricks.
And he's been watching you. He's been observing you. So you just like.
Well, I meant that to say like he was trained. You guys are trained by the same fucking person. Like,
And he was trained by your mother.
And he perfected it.
Why would you even speak up on behalf of him? Like like how you had to pave your own way. Let him pave his own way. Because maybe maybe y'all still would have lost, but maybe the loss wouldn't have been as detrimental. Because at that point, I think they had closed the gap a little bit, and they were only at like a 20-point difference. But it's like that's that shit that gets me irritated with these main characters when y'all just do too much, and to the point where you now handicap yourself.
Right. It just didn't make no sense. I had to But yeah, and that's really where like this wraps up. So next, let's talk about the character we fuck with. Ooh. I'll go first. The character I fuck with has to be Chiaki. He is literally it. That dude has me cracking up from start to fucking finish. Like, I think he meets Sora outside of the school, and like he's waiting for a date for this girl, and he like forces him to stay there and wait for the girl. And he was like, "Yo, well, how long have you been waiting?" He's like, "Since yesterday." What the fuck? Like, he is the twin brother of Momoharu, and he has an afro. So, like, off rip, I was really, really prepared to not fuck with him, period. But he really wears on you. He's girl crazy. He's hilarious. He's aggressive. He carries the team. And when he joined the team, that was when the team officially became real.
Yeah.
Because Sora was even going around like, yo, I can't do this without you. Like, I've always talked about playing basketball with you, dude. This isn't a team without you.
He's a point guard, right?
Yeah, he was listed as a point guard, but then he switched over to, I believe it was center. But he is just super dope. I enjoyed watching him fawn over now. I enjoyed watching him like do the elbow passes and like do all these passes and shit that just fucked all the players he went against mine. Like, everyone's like, yo, it could be an elbow pass. That has to be a fluke. That has to be a fluke. Like, he would just surprise everyone. And even from the few games he played in middle school, people just remember, like, yo, this was the kid who was playing basketball at a high school level that his team couldn't keep up. And that's why he was considered, quote unquote, bad. You know, like, I can't even imagine what it's like now. So I am looking forward to seeing more from Chiaki. I think everyone has a fire lit under their ass right now to be better and make up from that time where they all quit playing fucking basketball. But he is definitely the character I'm fucking with right now.
I like that. I support that.
Yeah.
My character I fuck with is gonna have to be Toby. He's a punk.
Kaita.
He's a punk. And he's the dickhead of the team, but he's also he's a dickhead.
Absolutely.
But because I was gonna be like, but they absolutely deserve it a lot of the times. Like, he has to give them that tough love. But what I will say is that his loyalty is unparalleled.
But that's to say he's only a dickhead to the teammates. He's a dickhead to pretty much everybody.
Yeah, don't get it confused. Yeah, don't get it confused now. He's very consistent. But his loyalty is unparalleled. Like, we have characters like this where it's like they put up this bravado facade, but we saw that he turned down the opportunity to go to play at the school that ended up whooping their ass. He got offered by the coach to come to the school because he saw the raw talent that Toby had that just needed to be honed. And he said, no, I'm going to take my chances with these losers. Because they know where to go from here. And he, like, so that fate that he has in his team, I really like that. But I also like that he's like, he challenges Momoharu constantly, and that results in such hilarious commentary for me. The way they go off on each other.
Yeah, literally. He'd be like, yo, Captain, what's up? You gotta be in charge of this.
He literally presses like, you would not think Momoharu is the captain the way that Toby straight up presses him. Like, oh my god, they're like, oh, you're gonna let this guy play the practice mount? He's like, do something about this bitch. Yo.
Like, oh god.
He gives me very much the giggles, but I also like his character development. Like, again, he was even worse like when we first met him, but you know, Sora, you know, that main character, they just wiggle their way in there. Come on, guys, group hug. Yeah. So he did that to Toby, wiggled his way into that heart, and I feel like Sora is like, he respects Sora, and he likes him.
He gets the most acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Sora gets the most acknowledgement from Kite. And we hands even down.
Yeah. So like, I like that relationship that they have where it's like, you know, what's understood don't have to be said.
Yeah.
So that's my character that I fuck with. So rolling right into lock that bitch in. So what I'm gonna lock in is that they're gonna get another member. At least 2. I'm hoping 2. That's more of a wishful thinking. But I think that they're gonna get more members because as we've seen, their stamina is their biggest drawback. But also, one player should not have to play for 2 hours and something minutes straight. And we also see that they have a much smaller team than I think should like be allowed. Yeah. So I'm gonna lock in that they're gonna have a few more members join. That's probably like a smaller lock that bitch in, but they've lost everything at this point, so I really don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a good one because I was gonna say something similar, so I'll piggyback on that and say what I was thinking more so I'm gonna lock in that next year because I assume that when we come back season 2 it'll be a new year, them leading up to the you
think they're gonna do
a time skip? Yeah, because like at one point they said that they were in May. You know, like one girl told Mokichi, well, it's May. And it's like, okay, so the school year is almost done.
It ends with their summer vacation.
Yeah, so, the school year is almost done. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see them starting a new year. And I'm going to say at the start of that new year, I think we're going to lose a couple members, but we are going to gain a lot of new freshmen. I think we're going to lose Chucky and maybe Nabe because I've seen that they were so quick to return back to smoking. They had to coast Momohameru into doing it. They were the ones who were playing video games. Like, it's like, we lost. They were never really taking it 100% seriously, even though they're into the game now. So I see maybe they quit, maybe they transfer schools, maybe they get arrested.
I think that's a very good point. And in going with what you said, I think that if they do quit, like now they'll actually have like a cheering section. Like I feel like they would still come to every game and support, and they can finally.
Oh, that's not what I envisioned.
Finally have a cheering section.
Yeah, that would be cute. But I envisioned them like just completely axing them out.
Oh,
over
like
the summer.
out of the picture.
Yeah, like I could see them completely like they're out. They're done. So that's what I'm gonna lock in. That we are gonna get new members, but I think we're also gonna lose some of the stragglers. The stragglers
really hope
that Shay never liked.
Gone. Yeah.
But keep Yushiro?
Yasuharu.
Like keep him around. But like the two that really weren't shit, they'll probably go away. Oh. And last but totally not least, we got to give this show our Nani rating. For me, Ahiru no Sora was hilarious. Like when I got to watching. Like when you start, just the characters in themselves, they have completely different personalities. Mokichi, who's this tall, anemic, nerdy kid, is like clapping back at these thugs. They're like, yo, don't come on the court if you're not gonna help. He like fully heel-toed on this dude's foot. Like this show was hilarious and just genuinely entertaining. I felt a tightness in my chest when Sora's mom died, and like I was telling Shay, there was a scene where Madoka is talking to her sister who was a nurse at the hospital, and like she's like, we got to be strong for the boy who's trying his hardest to hold back his tears. And they showed Sora, who we've seen this entire time, as this happy-go-lucky, super nice, super optimistic boy, and my chest got tight. I said, his mom's dead.
Oh God, not the mom.
Okay, I almost called my mom. But
take that.
They did. They really achieved a decent plot. The only qualms I have with it is that we didn't get to see our fucking team win. And I had a lot of like issues with how the timing of the games would go. Like I feel like they would jump to quarter 3 in like an episode, and then it will take them 5 episodes to go from quarter 3, quarter 4 to finishing the game. And I ultimately just wanted to see our team win something. They didn't have to win in the Inter fucking high. But if you're gonna put a game after the Inter high, you damn sure better let these guys win. You damn sure better let them win. Well, not damn sure, because you didn't. But I'm going to give them, with that being said, I'm going to give them a 7.5. I really enjoyed watching them. I thought it was really fun.
Ooh, fun. So I also thoroughly enjoyed Ahiru no Sora. It was hilarious. Like, I was going to say if nothing else, but there was else. There's plenty else. I was in actual tears sometimes at the way the banter did it for me. Like how I said, Haikyu was very jovial, and they had like a brotherly, like family kind of relationship. Yeah. They would never speak to each other this way. Absolutely not. But this, like, it was more realistic in the relationships where they're just like, nah, talk shit, get hit. Like we're gonna pop off on each other, like how brothers do, right?
I just fucking met you,
literally. But so I do like that aspect. One of the issues I had with the show was the story progression, like Elijah mentioned. We had practice matches that lasted arcs.
Yeah.
That had their own arcs that lasted like over 10 episodes. That was kind of beast to me. Like, that's not even a training camp. That's just that one match with this one team and y'all going back and forth. Another thing that just started to really bum me out was that they never won anything. Like, dang, like not a practice match, not nothing. They won absolutely nothing. So that to me as a viewer, like when they just had no wins.
50 episodes.
It started to read more as a drama. And I'm like, this is really bumming me out. Also, Ahiru no Sora is based off of a manga. But after episode 33, they kind of fell into this lull where it started watching as a manga. Like I started, like, it looked like a shoujo anime where it's like now they're starting to, you know, show us Madoka going on dates, and I'm just like, I'm really not vested in Madoka's love life if it's outside of the protagonist. Like they're showing them going to fucking like, what do you call those, like, there's a name for it when they like go on like those group dates, like boys and girls from different schools, like where they meet up, like going to these fucking like clothed orgies. I don't know what it's called.
God.
But
a teen club? Like,
no, they actually call it something. But the point is, I don't care. So you're like, there's a couple of times they did that, like in the middle of a match. Then they switched to Madoka. She lost an earring. What? I was sick because at that point I was over Madoka as well. Because why are you leading my homie on? But the way that the story really dragged to me, because like when you really think about it, 50 episodes, and y'all have had 1 tournament and 2 practice matches. 50 episodes? Do better with your time. So that being said, I'm gonna give Ahiru no Sora a 7.
Mic drop?
Mic drop, yeah, because I'm just like, I definitely feel like season 2 is going to be better, and obviously there's room for improvement and blah, blah, blah. The 90 rating can always go up, but at this point, with what they gave me for season 1, I will give it a 7.
All right, cute.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us on today's episode of the Nani Network. So before we go, we're going to ask this week's question for the gram, which is, what did I say? Oh, yes. What is on your fall 2020 watch list? Make sure you check out our Instagram at Official Nani Network, where we will have the question posted and sound off below. That's all we have for you guys today. As usual, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.
Later.